Hey everybody, welcome back to Dress to Quest for episode 37 here on Tabletop Misfits. Tonight, you can see we have another guest show up as the Northern attitudes have started to change. Maybe even aren't the Northern attitudes anymore. We'll find out here in the near future. But just a quick shout out and farewell for Benji, our barbarian, who was here last episode for her last session for a little while as she takes care of some in real life stuff. So we wish her well and hope her to return very soon. Same with Castle and our wonderful friend Sturm. But what this does is this allows new heroes to make their mark in Icewind Dale. So before we begin, I want to make sure that we go around. For those that are new to the show or have not been here for a while, we're just going to go around and make sure everybody knows who they are, who they're playing. And for this one, because we're starting to add new people to it, tell us at least your class that you're running. So, and we'll start this off with our wonderful Alix.
Also known as Idly Wild. I will be playing Aerwyna, your Stars Druid, but it seems like changes are happening, so we'll find out.
Yep. All right.
Over to Chris.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris. I'm playing Ginjack Wonderful, a life cleric of Shantaea, nature goddess.
All right. And our new member. Our new member is a mute. So you have to fully read his lips the entire time we play. This is
not on mute.
There you are. You're good.
Oh, your volume was really low. That
Your
was
volume
all.
was really low.
There we go. That's my northern attitude, is accidentally quiet. Now, hi everyone. My name is Sam. I will be joining this group for long or short term, depending on if they'll have me, as a fighter.
All right.
And I am a Shadar Kai, or a Shadow Elf.
Ooh. New things are adding. All right. Well, and I, of course, am your Mythweaver, lore keeper, and game master for the night. Our bard, Kelevar, has had to step away due to some technical issues for the evening, but he has not left us. He will return next episode. So, without further ado, let's head right into our video. See you soon. All right.
Webcams are not known for their high fidelity.
So, in the cold heart of Icewind Dale, amidst victory and bloodshed, the Northern attitudes face their most painful farewell yet. After the brutal Durgar ambush slaughtering the brave Goliath warriors, Benji made the hardest choice: to stay behind, protect young Pravia, and to honor a mother's dying wish. With heavy hearts and tearful goodbyes, Aerwyna, Ginjack, and Kelevar returned to a broken but rebuilding Caer Konig. There, amidst the hammering of repairs and the scurry of kobolds, they found warmth, a home they helped save, a tavern teeming with life, and the faintest echo of friends gone but not forgotten. Yet even in laughter, dark currents stirred beneath the snow and above, as they remember there is still an overarching threat to Icewind Dale. And that sort of where we're picking up tonight. We're actually going to pick up about 2 weeks before this with our new friend, Nier. So, Nier, can you give me a description of of who you are as the four of you are journeying? We're just going to kind of do a camera zoom on this as four individuals are sneaking through a corridor deep within Neverwinter. And
Absolutely.
what do you look like, my friend?
Well, as we meet Nier, he is part of a little cadre of not so wealthy, let's call them mercenaries. Individuals who take coin for a variety of jobs, and as such, I don't necessarily have the best equipment, but I dress in dark grays, dark greens, dark blues. I don't necessarily want to call out to the world that my brethren and I are part of the Shadow Elf Society of the Underdark and Shadowfell, but I also wear it proudly on my face, as I do don tattoos reminiscent of those who worship the Raven Queen. My four fellows and I are moving about the streets, and I hunch rather a lot. I don't necessarily project confidence, and my skin is rather pale, as you can see outside of my clothing on the rest of anything that's showing. And we are, at least at this moment in time, moving through the streets of Neverwinter in a fashion that's not meant to draw the eye.
And as the four of you sleek into what seems to be a inconspicuous building. For the average person, you would think this is just another shop. But you've been watching this place for quite a while, and this is actually one of the many vaults hidden deep within Neverwinter that lead to the Arcane Brotherhood strongholds. And you've been tasked by a member of your society to find some rather unique items.
Okay, Lyra, what's the next move? I speak over to one of our team members.
You see a very thin, fully cloaked, Shattered High female, really tightly wrapped hair in a braid, as she sleeks up next to the door, and you can hear her starting to click things together. But what she does at the same time is there's a set of runes on her wrist, like a bracelet, that she's moving at moments as well. And it's almost as if she's unlocking both the physical and the magical portion of the door at the exact same time.
Wow, that's crazy.
And she's... All right, we're in. Now, Theron, you stay back. You, Nier, you're up.
I give Theron a nod as we slowly start to slink inward.
She just opens the door slowly and she pans you forward.
Oh, okay. Wasn't sure I'd be in front. Here we go.
Well, you've got the eyes for this.
All right. Looking about in this faux storefront, I'm very lucky that my eyes don't take too much time to adjust. But what is it that we're looking at the moment? I trust Lyra, but I'm a little nervous that she shoved me in here first.
So in here, it's interesting because you can see now that you're inside that the stage is literally next to the windows. So they have like bookshelves that are facing towards the window. You can see things inside the bookshelf showing that it is a full shop. However, as soon as you walk in, it's empty. And there is a trapdoor on the floor that is just very simple.
Okay. I'm gonna pull a copper and just like toss it across the floor in the direction of the trapdoor. Not the most sophisticated ways of seeing if we're in for a trap, but just real quick, looking for a trap.
You hit it. You actually watch as it hits a string, but the string is almost completely invisible to the naked eye, but it stops on that string.
Spooky. Okay, cool. I'm gonna kind of like traipse in, keeping an eye out for the string, and I'm looking about for anything else that might be hidden. But it seems pretty obvious we're going for the trapdoor.
As you go forward, you actually, as you're heading towards the trapdoor, the string itself actually, as you get close to it, you start to notice that the trapdoor is there. However, there is a shimmer on the back wall as well.
Did Kryn come in as well?
Yeah, all four of you are in now.
Okay, perfect. And I'm just gonna kind of subtly point over near the wall as I look at the trapdoor, and I step over the string, and I'm kind of checking it out as if I want to pull it up ever so slightly just to take a peek in, but I'm definitely indicating, hey, there's a wall that needs checking out as well.
Yeah, you hear Krindis, a very soft whisper come through as she chants away what looks and dispels the illusion that's showing, as this entirety of this place is open. You can now see a large corridor that goes deeper in, but it starts to go at an angle downward.
Okay. I'm gonna look to the group. I'm gonna look down at the trapdoor. I'm gonna look at the group, trapdoor, probably one more time, and then, this seems like a bit of a misdirect, or am I crazy?
Normally, they'll use those to transport between the vaults, but the vault themselves are never underground. Not fully.
Well,
Did she never tell you that?
I normally don't come inside. This is exciting.
Your first run. Great.
Yeah. Well,
I
let's
knew you
go.
were fresh under the ears.
Yep, okay. The epitome of confidence.
Yeah,
And as I continue to stutter and kind of look abashed for a moment, I do get up, and I'm going to start moving in the direction of the dispelled illusion.
Mm-hmm. And so what you're noticing is that it's as if the way the building is being built is being built to go underneath another building, but it's not going underground. So it's just you're going underneath a building. And as you do, it levels out once you're able to get down to the point where you'd be able to stand, and then it goes forward. As you walk through the illusion kind of just shimmers away as you go through it. And it's this long corridor. There's a door at the end.
What is it that we're looking for now that we're in here?
Your guess is as good as mine, truthfully. Anything we can sell off. Anything we can use in order to get home. Vixel never really cares what we find, as long as we find something and we take it from them.
Well, all right. Again, I don't normally go inside, so but I do know what's worthwhile. Yeah. Okay. Cool. We're on this.
And she leads you in, and you guys follow down to the doorway,
Yeah.
and you're standing in front of this large wooden but has metal inlays and wraps around it, sealing that it seems to be sealing something inside. All right. Well, we've at least found one of their smaller vaults. This doesn't seem to be a big one. Doesn't look like there's much here. If we can get 2 or 3 things and sell them off on the market, we should at least be able to make a good amount of coin for Vixel.
Perfect. It doesn't sound like any arcane sigils went off, but let's not take any chances. Let's see if we can crack this door, get what we can, and get back out again. I'm also pretty hungry. That's a secondary motivator.
You and your stomach.
And I kind of take the lead from Lyra, who normally is our door cracker. You saw how well she did outside. I kind of look to her, and then I look at the door, almost as if to imply, like, you want me to crack this, or best to play it safe, you want to take it on?
very quickly, she just kind of scans over the edges of it, and she says, "Yeah, if I can't notice it, then we're in for a run. You're welcome to open it." She gives you a grin.
All right. Now, should I roll for this?
Sure. Roll me either a sleight of hand or a athletics, depending on how you are opening that door.
You know, I am absolutely going to go with athletics.
Go for it.
Okay. That's a real nice, what looks like 27.
Yeah, easily. You take with both hands and just rip this door open to the point where it's starting. You can feel the hinges actually starting to bend. All right, you proved your point. He'll be useful.
And I kind of lean in. Smugly, but not trying to be mean about it. Just kind of lean into the moment, by which I say I lean away with the door so that I can drag it open. And I assume that any conversations we had prior to now went along the lines of it being the supermarket sweep game show where we're just going to run in, grab what we can, and get out again.
Correct.
Excellent.
The person who sends you on these jobs, a lot of times she would rather you all make it out than be getting something that's too much. She is a caring individual. However, she does put you all in very grave danger 90% of the time. And you can even remember training up to this point where Vixel will be... She recreates moments like this where you've noticed that she allows you to open doors without her checking things or whatnot to see how you react to things. Yeah. But for a moment there, as you were pulling it, and you're used to her being like on your shoulder, being like, "All right, that's enough." Before you get kind of a tensed up for a moment, thinking that you're gonna get that same, but you just pull the thing all the way up.
Just go for it. Yep.
Yeah.
I say, "For the queen," and I just dive right in, and I'm looking.
Right. Inside this 20 by 20 room is multiple width to depth. Probably in all honesty, it's probably a full-blown square at this point, the way this one's built. There's about a dozen items that have kind of been placed on shelvings in here. Most of them are wrapped in some sort of cloth or other types of linens. So you can't see exactly what you're looking at. But you randomly start hearing a hum in your ear.
I'm obviously going to go towards that.
Okay.
Which means I'm going towards my ear.
Give me a perception check.
22.
With a 22, you immediately notice that the hum is on the back left wall, kind of sitting about 2 shelving up. You see a set of keys.
Knowing that these are in a vault, I look around. Does there seem like there's anything that would be obviously associated with the key, or is it just like random keys?
I mean, there's a couple of chests that are sitting in there that are locked, that you can tell are probably locked.
Chests are pretty heavy. I think I'll start with the keys.
Lyra heads over to what looks like a very ornate staff. You can even tell by the ball that's on the edge of it before it's even unwrapped. You can tell that there's something connected to this long spear. Crindis is looking around, and she says, Nothing I can really notice and use. And she just randomly she goes, that, and just grabs it. And Thyron, your timid healer of the group that has, in most cases, just been voluntold to go, is standing in the far back. He said, "All right, when we're ready, I prefer for us to leave. So grab what we need and let's get out of here.
Got it.
Before the Arcane Brotherhood even thinks we've been here."
I might need a hand in just a second. I'm gonna crack open one of these chests. And yeah, I'm reaching for the keys.
Okay. As you reach for the keys, that ringing gets louder.
Okay.
Do you grab the keys?
If I look around, does anybody else seem to be reacting to like? No. Okay. Tinnitus is a thing. It could absolutely be a facet in this fantasy reality. But Kryn doesn't seem concerned. Lyra doesn't seem concerned. They're the best trap spotters, arcane or otherwise. They don't seem too concerned. I need to take care of myself, but I also got to take care of these guys. We shouldn't linger too long. Like, nobody else seems to be affected at all. Nobody sees anything.
Correct.
Scary.
Nobody seems to be affected.
Okay. Hey, I'm a fighter. I'm not going to pretend I have the best instincts. I reach for the keys.
Okay. As you reach for the keys, you immediately, your ears start to ring so loudly that your vision starts to blur. You hear the voice of Lyra. She says, "Nier, what's wrong? Nier!" And you just hear it as like an echo, like it's fading away. And the last thing you
all for
remember,
having me on this show. It was very nice.
the last thing you remember before this all stops is that you heard the ringing, and then your vision just kind of slowly faded away. And weirdly enough, you are holding the keys in your hand when you wake up. Mm-hmm. When you wake up, you're in the middle of nowhere, covered in snow, looking around.
Did the keys turn into a jacket?
They did not.
I'm in trouble.
You are cold. Very cold.
I'm going to look around. Shh. Dude. That's it. That's my core reaction at the moment.
Yep. You're still holding these keys, and they still give off a slight hum to them, but you realize that nobody else is around, and you're not sure what exactly happened. But you're now covered in snow. Well, you're about knee deep in snow as you start to stand up, like lean up out of the snow. And funny enough, about 10 feet away from you, sitting on cross-legged in the snow, is you, one of your echoes.
That's a first. This is the first. I'm gonna look at this, and from what I understand of what's happening with me right now, it's vaguely see-through, but also partially corporeal to the extent that I'm not having to strain, at least not through like the ice itself that's flashing by, because it's like being in Hawaii. You're gonna get rain every 10 minutes one way or another. I assume some blizzards are happening here semi-regularly. I look at him, them, and I assume it's looking right back at me, probably not feeling the cold as aggressively. You go, is about as much as I can articulate, and then I do in fact think that my echo speaks back over to me. It was just kind of like, yeah, this is not how that was supposed to go. We need to talk.
As your echo says that, you notice around you now that you are not in Neverwinter anymore, and you've only heard rumors of what Icewind Dale was, and the only rumors you've heard is that there was a literal and there's a magical night that has placed on it, and due to an angered god, and people don't go there anymore. The cliff sides or the pathways inward are closed off, and there's no way in or out. Somehow you're here.
Darn. And then Echo, yeah, darn. That's one way to put it. Cool. I'm here.
So I'm going to ask you first to do a survival check for me.
Perfect. Okay, I had to roll low eventually. That's a 10.
It takes you a while between the cold that is just caught up to you and a very sarcastic version of yourself that seems to just trail behind you. You finally find a small cave to get out of the cold and the wind, at least. You notice this is either, and you're not really sure what type of cave this is, but it's at least shelter of some sort. What do you do?
It's not like I haven't been outside before. I imagine I check over what I have on my person. I didn't dress or pack for adventure. I absolutely wanted to look as much like I was out for a stroll as possible. And I for sure only have long pants, not a long shirt. So my first priority is see what's on my person, try to make a fire. The keys seem tertiarily important. If I get back, they might still be of use to my group. I don't know if I'll be able to open anything with them, but I pocket those, and right now I just want to start a fire. And I imagine that the entire way over to the cave, the other me was just prattling on about, like, all right, here's all the stuff we need to check, like, wiggle each toe as we walk, wiggle each finger as we walk, and I'm just going, oh my god, is this what I'm like? To myself. But yeah, I'm looking to start a fire now that I'm in this cave.
As you look around and you find a couple pieces of wood, and you slowly start to gather those requirements, and one by one you're able to start to build a fire.
Nice.
But what you hear outside while you're trying to do this is strange yipping noises, as if 2 to 3 dozen kobolds have just shown up out of nowhere and are heading somewhere.
Okay. Echo's gonna head to the mouth of the cave.
Okay.
Not being able to do too much beyond like tell me what it sees. I don't have a mental link with it. But just like me kind of having been passed out in the snow for a little bit and literally just trying to make sure I don't die for the next couple of minutes, Echo's gonna run over and just try to take a look and see if it knows if the kobolds are heading this way or if they're heading in a specific direction. Because if they're heading somewhere, that probably means there's better shelter too.
Yeah, so you can see they're all in a path. There is a very colorful orange and blue colored decorated kobold in the front, and it goes, "Cookie, know the way! Cookie, know the way!"
Does Cookie look like they have additional jackets to be shared?
They don't look like they have a ton of gear on them.
Okay. Echo's gonna kind of run back over, and I'm probably just using like strips of my clothing to like get kindling together for the wood. And it's just gonna be like, hey, some potentially non-hostile persons are running through the snow. I don't see us surviving out here. We gotta go. And I look back up at the Echo, just like literally like, okay. And there is a certain degree of physicality that I can interact with, not like a crazy amount, but I do imagine the Echo pulls on me and is trying to get me into the snow and moving me through the snow. And again, it's by no means invisible, so moving at best at half speed, but probably slower. We are stumbling in the direction that we saw a pack of kobolds go, and the echo is literally the only means by which I'm standing at the moment.
Okay. So taking a few minutes to kind of slightly warm up as your echo starts to pull you away. Give me a history check real quick, because I'm curious if you've ever seen or heard of a kobold.
Wonder about that as well. Sam Lopez loves them, but does Nier know what he's dealing with? Okay, that's a nice flat 14.
You've probably seen some of the more. You've either seen them probably used more so as servants in Neverwinter. They're used kind of as like simple tasks, things like that. You've actually seen one of the nobles actually like using one as like a babysitter for another child, which I don't know why you would trust a kobold for babysitting, but sure, let's do that.
Defeated enough. I think with my minuscule knowledge too, I would have to imagine that survival tactics in my mind would lean into the notion that if I stay in the cold by myself, I'm gonna run out of things that can burn pretty quick. I do stand much better odds of following these, even if they're not leading me anywhere friendly. I'll still have more to work with. So yeah, we continue along.
Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out, like, Echo doesn't get cold. Echo's going, all right, here's what we do if this happens. And speaking way more than Nier has ever spoken, at least in a contiguous fashion. I am struggling to be alive at the moment. I definitely don't have the capacity to be listening or thinking, but he's contingency planning in case this is a bad idea. But it seems like the best one at present, and we keep trudging. Yeah.
And you're looking for anything. And what you are noticing, interesting enough, it's not useful items, but these kobolds have a ton of just random things on them as they're trailing back through what to where you will find out soon enough is Caer Konig, and they're just dropping things. It's like it gets too heavy for them, and they just drop it in the snow, and it has allowed you to kind of piece together enough to kind of keep warmer as you're walking through the snow. So you've just got kind of little things here and there that you're shoving into spots and keeping, kind of like if you would be grabbing newspaper or something. If you were super cold, you would use that in order to keep yourself warm.
Quite literally patchwork.
Yep, patchwork. But it's something. And in cold weather like this, anything's better than nothing.
Stellar.
This lasts for a few hours, to the point where you're almost... Actually, you know what? Let's find out. This sounds like more fun. Roll me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Of course.
As you start to feel the cold hit.
Okay, I'll take a 19.
Okay.
Wow.
Perseverance
Awesome.
is pushing through. For the next few hours, the cold is sinking in, but it's not enough to start hindering you. As you head over another mound of snow and you start to journey deeper and deeper into what seems to be civilization, and you start to see smokestacks start to in the distance.
Okay, we're gonna keep pressing on. Did you? Oh, it's already dark. I was just about to ask if it was seemingly getting darker.
It's already dark, yes.
Yeah. I have to imagine I've been keeping, once again, with the echo helping me along, like the kind of distance that would make sense so as to not be ambushed in the event that they weren't friendly. But now that we're getting closer, I do think we're gonna break trail and try to enter the town, not directly behind them, just to make sure that I'm not entering a hostile situation.
Okay. Yeah, and this is literally 30 to 40 kobolds just walking. About every 2 or 3 have a torch in their hand, and they're just kind of trudging through the snow in this giant line, like a giant centipede, moving through. And sooner or later, they do all arrive in Caer Konig. And funny enough, the people that are there have been informed as well of this arrival from somebody. You don't know who, but somebody has informed Caer Koenig of their arrival, and you veer off kind of to the outskirts of town.
Now,
We're going to kind of
we need to make pretty early on is the book seems to indicate that once again the echo is not invisible by any means.
Correct.
As I come up on town, because this is something entirely new to myself, and I only imagine the echo has a little bit more of a okay. I seem to know a little bit more about what's going on at the moment because it didn't have to suffer through kind of passing out ever so slightly. We still don't know whether we should be treating the situation cautiously, and seeing that it appears as though the kobolds are being welcomed, it's like not bodies hanging everywhere, nobody's attacking directly. We are just like bull rushing, trying to make sound basically, to be like as evident as possible as we're not sneaking up, and I clearly need help.
Got it. If you're coming in from the northern portion to Caer Koenig, you would be arriving right there at the expedition. Let me pull up my map because it's been a minute since I've lived in Caer Koenig.
Property value's only gotten better.
As soon as it loads. But there is a expeditionist journey, I believe, is the Frozen Far Expeditions is the main home that would be there, and it's a large wooden building. There is
It has supply shop written all over it.
supplies, but also it has two large sleds on the back end of it. There's a large supply of chopped wood. There's also a small pin where you see these strange ostrich-like looking creatures, about 8-9 feet tall, with giant axes for beaks, and right next to it is a small pin of large dogs. So this is not only their supplier, but this is also where they do most of their stabling and mount riding from here.
Cool. That's all good info. Yeah. I don't have to role play that I'm dying and just looking for help.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm doing at the moment.
We'll say as you're closing in, roll me another Constitution saving throw.
Sounds great.
Trying to see when you pass out in the snow.
And I roll
If you
with
pass out in the
disadvantage?
snow, we'll see.
Yeah. I would love to roll with disadvantage based on circumstances.
Go for it.
Sweet. Okay. That's a flat 10.
Yeah. We'll say with a flat 10, it gets to that point where you start to get very cold. Your muscles start to seize up. Your echo is giving you just strange looks of annoyance and kind of sad that you're the fail of between the two of them.
Wow, must be nice not being subjected to the elements.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
And as that goes through, you start to slowly feel that pain in your legs start to seize up. And
Probably
you get
a little
closer.
weary still from the ringing noise.
Mhm.
Hours in the snow. Makes nothing but good sense to me.
But you hear a bunch of barking as you get closer, as the dogs immediately sense you.
I probably smell weird as hell too. Covered in a whole bunch of refuse I picked up in the snow. Yeah.
Atenis, the gamekeeper there and the one who keeps the Frozen Far expedition, this burly dwarf comes out with a heavy crossbow and a lantern in his hand. He's, "Who the hell are you? You all right?"
I speak probably like a second or two after the echo starts to speak. And the voice I'll lead with is very much just kind of like, "I'm Nier. I need lots of assistance." And the echo had gone with, I'm Nier. We need a great deal of, and kind of stopped talking, hearing me actually projecting shockingly loud. And again, two virtually identical, just one who somehow is even paler than the other. Individuals are coming into town, like shouting for with a need for help, but they do both identify themselves as Nier. So, twin men named Nier have just walked into town.
And what does he look like as you're walking up to this dwarven fella? Because he's not, based on how you're looking, you might get a different response.
Oh yeah, it's probably the case that with even like the initial shock, that the Echo is realizing for the first time that it might not be the wisest thing to just lead all these strangers into the notion that some weird magic is happening with the duplicity. So he lets go of regular me, and he's gonna turn and just be like, all right, surely they're not gonna not help this other guy. I'm gonna try to figure out what's going on elsewhere. And the Echo like turns and just runs, arms high, so as to not seem like a threat. And unfortunately, the Echo only makes it about 29-30 feet when just leaving only the solitary me leaning in the snow. And I didn't really take notice. I feel like a little bit of a snap, but I don't know what it means yet. So what I look
What
like,
the hell was that?
I'm not gonna lie, I really don't know.
You're looking a little rough there, friend.
I'm not bleeding or anything. I didn't anticipate being in the snow, and I feel very badly injured, although I don't see any possible injuries. And it should probably be pretty clear, even if I found like a single blanket, that I'm definitely wearing like light pants, thin boots, like a sleeveless tunic, and I just like covered and wrapped in as much stuff as possible, and I'm just shivering and hunkered over.
Okay. He kind of walks up to you. He gives you a kind of a once-over with this large lantern, looking to make sure nothing stabby, nothing blunty, nothing that's just going to club him upside the head, that kind of thing. And he's always got his crossbow pointed at you. He's, well, you're welcome to come in.
I'm pretty hungry. That would be great.
Yeah, we've got some food. And he
I'm
kind of like
contemplating
grabs you with
how
he
winter.
places the crossbow against the side, like hip of his against his hip, and he grabs you with this other just heavy, thick gloved hand and just pulls you up. And he's, all right, let's go inside.
That's impressive for a dwarf. I go in. I welcome every ounce of hospitality,
Yeah.
and I not unlike the posture of the Echo running away. Just the instinct is there to have like hands and arms out, just to make it as clear as possible that I'm like not a threat as I'm standing here shivering, fully wishing that the hands were wrapped around my chest again.
He brings you into a small home. There is a little bit of damage to it. As you can see, boards have been kind of pieced together to block this massive hole on the side of the wall. There's a good fire building in the hearth, and there's two sets of there's a large table and chair. There's a small table and chairs in there, but there's also a large couch sitting and another chair sitting by the hearth. There's a few books. There's another table that has some writing utensils on it, and then there's another room in the back. But he's feel free to sit down, and he grabs this heavy, like bear rug and just kind of just drops it on you.
That's fine.
That should help a little bit.
And I stumble basically until I'm about 1.5 feet away from the fire and hit the ground. But I do imagine that if he walks away to do anything else before checking on me, it only takes about 30 seconds for me to like groan very loudly as I roll at least another foot away from the fire, because even in my current state, that's too hot to be comfortable.
Yep. And for the next week or so, he works with you to start warming your body up to a comfortability taking time to get you comfortable and understand it. And the only difference you're seeing is you have none of your gear with you.
Yeah.
He says this is just, and I mean, and you know, over time he's just kind of placed your gear into a closet somewhere. You haven't looked where it's at though, but he's been very hospitable to you for this last week and a half.
I'm fully picturing like an 80s montage, but instead of something cool, it's just me eating soup and acclimating to the cold.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And covered in these massive blankets that his wife makes consistently. While this is all going on, the two of you would arrive in Caer Konig. This would have been your first full night back. Cookie has been taking over the hook, line, and sinker, and you had just bedded down for the evening when you would be able to have your first real rest in what feels like months. While this is happening, Ginjack, your rest feels, you remember almost like you have a strange dream of Pop Spring, and I'm going to let you tell that tale if you'd like to.
My mentor is inside the temple, puttering around, and I'm cooking in the kitchen, and there's a sunlight glowing through the window as I'm it's not a big temple, of course. It's like a tiny little village.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like a small meeting hall with a shrine attached to it. But the kitchen is well appointed because Granny, she likes, having her massive herb garden, which I also tend to. And so I'm humming under my breath as I'm looking through the window and stirring a pot, and then through the window I see the bright shining fields and the orchards and all of the fruit trees at Prop Spring. And then it brings a warmth to my heart. And as I remember that for some reason I've been very cold lately, and but it's so warm on the Titherian Peninsula near the ghost-haunted city of Belem. And the moment I think of ghost-haunted city, then I said, "Oh yeah." And then it gets a little bit darker, and I hum under my breath. What's the song? The groves they shiver, the ghosts they sing. My hand quivers as I touch her ring. My bride lies shriven, coins on her dead eyes. And then it gets darker and colder, and then the building kind of slowly crumbles to dust, and then I wake up. And I think, hey, that was odd. I hope everything's fine back home. Where am I again? Oh yeah, that's right. I'm in the tavern. And then I get up and I do my morning ablutions.
Okay. While that's happening, and you go through your night of reminiscing of home, Aerwyna, yours is a little different. Where did you go for rest? Did you stay in the tavern, or did you head home?
She stayed in the tavern.
Okay.
She went up to the kind of the attic rooms that she favored before when we were staying here the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And she is always the last to go to bed. She tries to get a little bit of that moonlight and starlight, or what passes for it in this eternal winter storm that we seem to be in. And she meditates for a long time before eventually going to sleep.
And what did your meditation look like tonight?
Tonight it's kind of like in that like little liminal space where what little light that does come out from outside comes in through the window, and if there is no true starlight, she will try and Let's see what do we got for stuff. For spells. She will create with prestidigitation on the window constellations in the on the window pane. If there are no stars outside, she will create her own.
So you've realized that there is light now, but it's not starlight. It is that ever-burning light that comes from the streaks of flame and metal that the Charlatan dragon has poured across the sky. So, it has definitely dampened the view of any stars.
Yeah. So she just creates her own out of the destruction that is raining down outside as the dragon rages on, using the prestidigitation to create the night sky where it should be, at least according to her memory.
Okay. And the way the light hits as the fire still streaks across the sky, it catches those stars on the window pane, and you start to see some of them glimmer and shine as you're looking at them, and you slowly drift off out of into your meditation. Where is the horn?
The horn, she has it not like in her lap, but in a bag next to her.
Okay.
Like her little carry backpack.
Okay. You, as you're doing this, start to drift back to time before when the lights were on, when there was sunlight and it glimmered against the snow, and that the snow wasn't always just so darn gloomy. And you can remember moments where your mother would be around more often and your father was not being carried off by Goliaths, and all the good moments.
She sometimes wishes that she had the tragic backstory where her parents were dead. she there are times. Having living parents is difficult.
It is, but there are good things with that too.
Yeah.
But you remember something else. Something when the snow wasn't as deep, is that you started to see roots in the care. In the ruins of the old citadel where Caer Konig was built on. As this was, and this is why your mother chose here. There is a deep-seated connection to the nature here in the cairn. And for some reason, it's pointing you there. That image is continuing to come into your mind.
I think then, as that image continues to come into her mind, Aerwyna's gonna sneak out of her own goddamn tavern to go play chase.
Okay.
She thinks she remembers what those roots were, but it's like that foggy childhood memory from her adventures with Sturm and a young boy named Reese. The three of them making trouble across the town. So she's gonna sneak out of her own goddamn house.
Okay. As you head down the stairs, the tavern is quiet. You actually can see where, after all of the tables have been cleaned, you notice small kobolds either laying underneath a table or on a table or on a chair, kind of hanging over, legs on one side.
Important question. Is
Sure.
there still chocolate cake left over from the gigantic chocolate cake summons? I don't remember how much chocolate cake that Ginjack made, but it was a pretty massive
Yeah, there was a massive cake. I will say, however, that is what this has become, is dozens of kobolds are laying on the ground. Looks like their stomach is about 2 times the size that it should be, just full of, and you can see little pieces of chocolate cake like hanging out of all their mouths. There is no more chocolate cake.
She will swipe a little bit of frosting off of the platter as she goes.
Okay.
A little bit of blood sugary before you go
A little bit of
outside.
shuggy before you go out. So as you step out the door and onto the ground in the snow, you look out there and you can see some of the lanterns that are still lit within the town. And you know that for the most of it, there's only about one or two people that are up during the evening hour, the late hours, and they're the ones that are going around lighting the lanterns and keeping them lit. Tonight doesn't seem to be too active, and it gives you a chance to sneak off to the north, past the through the hook, line, and sinker, down past the speaker's house, and into what is known as the ruined care. There you can see pieces of history left from years ago, rubble that was originally part of a wall. But in your mind, you know there's a hole here somewhere.
Yeah.
And there were roots, and there was life in this area. What do you do?
Yeah. She's gonna start looking for a little hole to crawl in. Luckily, she's not much taller than when she was a child. She didn't get much taller.
Okay. Where do you want to head? Where in this large open area surrounded by the wall of a broken castle do you want to head?
I think she's gonna kind of follow her gut instincts.
Okay.
Because she does remember there used to be what she and her friends called the oath tree.
Okay.
And she's gonna try and like piece together if the oath trees where those roots are going. But she is going to kind of just like follow that like gut instinct.
And you
That childhood memory.
think back, and you can remember it was the northwestern tower, where the tower should have stood. There was the basement level, but it seemed to be just a hole. And
Yep.
you never went down it, but you always wondered.
We're gonna do it. She's the last of her gang of friends. It's time to go check out what's in the creepy hole in the ruins.
So when you were children, this was your wishing well. This is where the three of you would come at night or in the daytime, away from everyone else. And this is where Reese said he was going to be a famous musician and a traveling bard. This is where Sturm said that he would, come heal himself, remove his ailments, be a person that is wanted in his clan, and a helper to all. What were your wishes that you threw in the well?
Oh God. I think Aerwyna never really knew what she wanted. She kind of knew that she wanted to leave Caercone at some point. She'd always dreamed of something larger than herself, but she'd never really had the words for it. So the boys would throw all the stones into the wishing well, knowing exactly what they wanted, because boys tend to know what they want anyway. Aerwyna always had kind of been struggling to kind of verbalize what she wanted.
Okay. As you get to where you think or you remember this spot was, you start to wonder, what do you do? You're like, okay, I'm remembering, there was that piece of rock, and that's where the wall was, and this is where the tower was, and this is where I saw the roots, and this is where Reese stood, and this is where Sturm stood, and this is where I crouched down and faked dropping a stone every single time.
Yeah. I think she's gonna pick up a stone, and I think she's going to put her hand out, and she's going to try doing, the wishing well, with what words she has, and she's going to say, I hope to always be the light for those who need it. And she's going to toss it, and I'm going to hit my microphone. I'm so excited. And she's going to toss it in. It's a loose dream, but at least it's one she can now verbalize.
And you toss it, and it seems to hit the ground, but it rolls. And it rolls about 3 revolutions before you start to see it sink slowly into the snow and out of sight.
Well, we have ways of dealing with snow, I think. We don't have shape water anymore. No, she's gonna start.
You would at this point.
Yeah, okay, so then she's going to kind of start melting the snow down below.
Mm-hmm.
And with her natural dark vision, she's going to descend into the creepy wish hole.
Into the creepy wish hole. This place that your parents had told you not to jump into as a child.
Yeah.
Now, as you fall down into the hole, something catches your memory that you were not expecting. You see every one of those drawn and painted rocks sitting at the bottom of this. Dozens.
Mm-hmm.
From Sturm, from Reese, from others. And it's just sitting there on the bottom of the ground.
There's a little petty part of herself that wants to pick up Reese's rocks and throw them out of the hole. It'd be so tempting, so tempting. But she leaves them there. She's going to be the bigger, better person, even though she wants to be so goddamn petty right now. Oh, it'd be so good. But no, she'll kind of start looking for those roots.
Okay. We'll say pettiness kind of got to you for moments. Not that you started throwing them out, but you started moving them. And you were irritated, and you picked up one of Reese's rocks,
mm-hmm.
and you tossed it aside as you saw a root. And it leads to the east of where you're at, it down, and you can see the roots are clamored all around this large hole, this large opening, heading deeper into the ground.
Well, we gotta go deeper. We get a creepy dream. We decide to follow it in the middle of the night without telling anybody. Only a little bit of icing in the cake. Could throw out all of Reese's dreams. This would still be a very productive night. No, we're going down into the creepy hole. We're going down into the creepy hole. Okay, let's go.
As you get about 20, 30 feet in, you start to see light. Not natural light, but small bluish white flowers blooming around the edges of these vines as they're deeper in. Very low light, but it's still something, and it's different than you've seen before. It's as if the vegetation and the plant life down here needed light somehow, so they found ways to make light. And this leads you about another 60 feet until you see something that you were not expecting to see. Carvings all around this place in what looks like a dome shape underneath the care. Elvish carvings, constellations, and even carvings of plant life and animal life. And you can see where your mother's migration is connected.
And I wasn't supposed to go in this creepy hole where my people's writings are? Black. I think she's gonna try and use the calendar to figure out like kind of where her mother's people should be. She knows the seasons are all weird.
Seasons are weird, yes. However, with your mother's, let me make sure, so I can pull up the map of Icewind Dale, because I know where your mom's at right now. I've been tracking her the entire darn time.
You could just tell me wherever, and I'd be like, "Yep, that's where she is."
Yeah, I know. That's fine. So she is just on the edge of the Reghead Glacier, which is to the far northeastern portion of the world. Surprisingly, only about, if you, and I don't know how much you would have known of Icewind Dale in the way this is shaped, for where you're at here, because all you're getting is direction, and you're guessing as far as out. But it wasn't super far away from the Trial of Chiefs that you guys were just at.
Oh my god! I could have had a meet cute with my mom and my dad. My dad who'd just been kidnapped. What a wasted opportunity. We could have parent trapped my parents.
You could have parent trapped your parents, even though you've tried that how many times and it never worked. Your mother doesn't stick around for more than a couple months and then vanishes again.
One day, I'll find my wacky twin and we will have antics.
But as you journey this, you find where the epicenter of those flowers bloom, as this entire area is covered in these things. And you can see, surprisingly enough, each flower is connected to where a star is. As if the plant life and the stars align together.
I wasn't supposed to go in the creepy hole to go see all of this. Absolutely whack. Someone please explain to me my parents' parenting style. And I think she kind of just starts taking it in and trying to like attune herself is like the best word I could think of. Kind of center herself in more of a holistic way of like taking in all of the information from the center of the room to kind of put together a bigger picture than what she could normally see around her.
Okay. Roll me an insight.
That is going to be a 21.
So I'm with a 21. So anything under a 20, I was going to kind of dictate the scenario a little bit. Anything above a 20, I'm handing this off to you. What does this look like?
I think it looks like there's like a small little, like, in the center of the known universe, at least to Icewind Dale, there's like a little like platform where druids used to stand to both map the flowering stars and to time also that understanding of the migration and the understanding of time in a cosmic level. A lot of time, and the elves think of time in their own lifespan and ages beyond that, which is already long, but this is like a cosmic wheel of time. And kind of she starts to kind of get glimpses and glimmers of how her people used to look back in time, because the distance between the stars and the planes, that is actually measured in time. It's not measured in distance in some ways. They go hand in hand, and she gets kind of like a little bit of like glimpses of the bigger picture of her druid circle.
Okay.
They were very big picture thinkers and individuals.
And you know the area that you're looking in right now is old, but piecing those puzzle pieces together and getting that cosmic thought process down, you realize that not only is this a very old area that you're in right now, but the exact moment that the lights went out is when this constellation setup would be constructed in the sky.
Huh. Interesting. She isn't really sure what that means because she has an Icewind Dale education. But that is interesting, and she's going to kind of she's going to try and remember this placement the best that she can.
The placements of everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, for one, it is what her people would want her to try and do. And two, there's so much out of her control. But by having information and understanding, and maybe not in an academic understanding, but that intuitive sense of information that she typically has, she's going to hold that for a time where it might be useful.
Okay.
She doesn't know when it's going to be because she has no idea, but she's gonna try and kind of almost become one with it, and remember that night when the stars went out and the sky was covered in cloud and storm, and how she was such a different person at that time as well. I think she starts to like almost soul search. She was literally just a girl from the tavern that picked up a wooden spoon and a serving tray that she's like good enough for a shield, and followed some really weird people out of the tavern.
Yeah. And as you sit there in that moment of realization, in that thought process that I was originally just that girl in the tavern, not having really a direction.
Didn't know what to even wish for when at a wishing well, and that's where she was at.
Is now standing in what seems to be one of the oldest areas you've ever seen. And the journey that you've been on is one of the most aggressive journeys that you know anybody has ever been in of your group. Well, your previous group. You start to see wording around the edges of the circle.
She's gonna try and read it and hope it's in a language she can read.
It is in Druidic.
Oh, good, thank God.
So there is that. So that does help. You tell me, what does your oath say?
So her oath is one tied to the ancient spirits of Icewind Dale and the primal sphere. Her oath is to kindle the light, to shelter the light, to preserve her own light, and to be the light. And I think when she hits be the light, she is going to use one of her wild shapes to go into starry form. Just like pure instinct. Like she's like, it says be the fucking light, so let's light it up, baby.
As you do, you realize what you have done at that moment.
Shit.
Rumors, that tales, stories of heroes within the Druidic circles that your mother has surrounded herself with and been a part of for so many years. These are those people you've heard of. This is those stories that you were told, is that there are heroes within the Druidic circles, those that charge towards the light, rather. And while she is a keeper of the light, she was never a charge of the light. When you say that, you burst into light. And you hear sounds of the wind kind of pour through this area. And it's as if chimes and windmills, or not windmills, windpipes are kind of being connected as this whirling of whistles and chiming goes off around you. And you're accepting your true calling within Icewind Dale as not what you thought was charging from the internal embodiment of yourself as an elf, but leading you towards your oath to be that light as you become an Oath of the Ancients paladin. As you're wandering, as you go into this moment of understanding and recollection, you realize that time has passed.
Oh shit.
Hours you've been dwindling down, or not dwindled, but hours have been used just going through as you trace constellations and you start to piece the puzzle piece together of life in your mind, of your life. Ginjack, you wake up after your wonderful dream that was not so wonderful towards the end, realizing you're still in the tavern, and you wander downstairs to see a slew of well-fed kobolds laying on the ground, on tables and chairs, and a half-open door at the front.
Oh, you shouldn't leave the door open. I mean, it's freezing out. Is there a fire on?
There's a fire on.
All right. Cookie, you've been... Wait, where's Aerwyna?
Cookie don't know.
Oh, hang on for a bit. One of you is close the door. I'll go upstairs. I knock on Aerwyna's door.
Okay. No answer.
Aerwyna, are you decent, or are you metamorphosizing into some other strange magical creature again? Hello?
You hear scratching on the other side of the door.
Oh, yeah, she's metamorphosizing. Didn't take the dogs out. They're going to poop in your bed. Is the door locked?
You can try.
All right, I'll
No, it doesn't
force
seem.
it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to
just
be
open it.
locked. You can open it. You see the two dogs just laying there.
Come on. Out with you.
They rush downstairs, out the door.
Let the dogs out. I yell downstairs.
Got it!
All right, I'll just sort of glance out of the corner of my eye in case she is not deep.
You look in. The bed is fully made. The only thing you're noticing is there are, like, everything is exactly the way it was.
All right, I'm going to walk around the room and see if there's any large larvae pods or anything like that.
Give me a perception check, because why not?
Or a big egg.
Or a big egg.
Perception? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the secret is Aerwyna's been a dragon this entire time. Time to hatch from her egg.
18? Oh, no.
12.
12.
I mean, it doesn't take much to go through the room And it doesn't take long before you realize that no, there's no strange larva locked against the wall. There's no giant eggs floating anywhere.
Eyes only. I'm not touching any of her shit.
Right.
All right. Well, that's odd. I go downstairs and I'll ask about it. Have any of you seen Aerwyna? All right. Were any of you awake and noticed her walking out?
You get no response.
All right. Did they let the dogs out?
They did.
Okay. All right. I'll
Since Cookie's the only one that can actually speak common, she walked out with them.
All right, that's good. I'll go. Okay, I'll bundle up first. I did take time to do my ablutions.
Yep.
And it was Icewind Dale, so I'll bundle up, wrap scarf around. I'll put on. Oh, I don't have it here. I'll put on my furry hat, and I'll go outside, and I'll call Aerwyna.
And you see some villagers already out. Some of them are still working on the houses. There's actually a group of fishermen heading down towards the lake to deal with some knucklehead trout.
I yell out to them. I'll call out. Have you seen Aerwyna?
No, we haven't.
All right. She's probably doing something druidic. All right.
That's one way to put it.
Well, I'd best make sure she has something to eat when she comes back.
Okay.
Is there any cake left?
No.
No.
Sorry. According to James, there is no cake left.
There is no cake left. There are a lot of really full kobolds laying around with.
To be fair, if the door
No
was
cake
left
left.
open, it probably would have been left out overnight. That's not good cake.
Yeah. All right. Let me think. Can't find Aerwyna. The kobolds are coming out of their sugar coma. Cookie's walking the dogs. This is usually the part where I start working in the kitchen. But it feels odd without Aerwyna around to putter. Oh well, I'll just make do, I guess. Have I heard any tell of Nier being in town?
Not really. Artenis is kind of just kept Nier too quiet at this point because he's not really sure how the town is going to deal with it.
All right, so I'm just
over the last week.
Yeah.
I've maybe had one or two accidental explosions of self, with another one of me being similarly expelled and confusedly running, and then disappearing again. It's the kind of thing to start a town rumor or two.
Yeah.
And I'm quiet.
All right. If there's nothing untoward on that side, all right, I'll go back in. And I say, in broken kobold. I mean, I'm trying to pick up their language, but I'll use sign language too. Are any of you? All right, fine. I'll go to the kitchen and I call upon the goddess's blessing.
Okay.
And I'll say, all right, and I'll make sure I make something that keeps, in case Aerwyna, like journey cakes or dumplings, in addition to anything else that I can scrounge up, in case Aerwyna's hungry when she comes back.
Okay.
And so I'll use guidance.
Okay.
And this would be survival, I think, for cooking.
Should be. I believe. Yeah, for cooking. Yeah, survival.
All right. Why won't it let me roll? Come here, you. Wow, I rolled pretty crap, but fortunately, okay, an average meal.
Yeah,
But
average meal. You don't really fail your meals usually.
it's hard for me to do that. It's hard to
Yeah.
fail on average.
He's really good at cooking.
Whoa, that's strange. Because it says D4 plus 3, but my survival is +6. Oh, right. That's the D3 of 4 plus 3 plus 3. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was 6 plus a d4, and I got to 11. Okay, I did roll bad.
You
All right.
rolled real bad. You rolled a 3.
All right, I'll put together some. See, I'm out of sorts because Arena's not around. All right, I'll put together the victuals as best I can, and I'll feed the kobolds,
Okay.
and leave food out for Aerwyna and for Cookie,
Okay.
and then I'll see if I can scrounge up some paper in the tavern.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's paper around.
All right, and then I'll
As
grab.
a champion of Caer Konig too, if you don't have paper, there are people around that can find you paper to help you.
Oh, and I have my book too, if I want to, but that's not for what this is. Right. I'll put the paper down. I'll sit behind the counter. I'll put the paper down, and I'll just leave it to Cookie to run stuff.
Okay.
I assume she comes back. Does she come
Yeah,
back?
as soon as she gets the dogs taken care of, she'll come back.
Oh, I left food for the dogs too.
Okay.
Because I'm not a bastard. And then good boys. You're both good boys. Even no matter what you are, you're good boys to me. And or good girls or whatever. Anyhow, I'll start.
They ever named if they were boys or girls? I think they were just dogs. I don't think we ever said.
No. It was Scruff and Candle.
Yeah, Scruff and Candle. I know, but I don't remember if they were
Gendered. I think Candle was a girl dog, and Scruff is a boy.
Okay.
All right. Good boy, good girl. And I'll sketch out a Temple of Shantea on the south wall and where I would want it. And then I'll sketch out a library. All right.
If I've got that set right.
I'll sketch out a library on the east wall.
Okay.
And I'll put another next to the Temple of Shantea, snuggled up against the tavern. I'll put an outdoor greenhouse.
Let me. Because this was one of these cool things I wanted to do on stream. So give me 1 second to do that.
Because there's no way to do a.
Ginjack, you're in charge of making the map because I'm stuck in a well.
There we go.
Yeah. The frogs in the well. All right.
So you said for those on this watching now, you can see there the hook, line, and sinker is inside the map here. We're going to take this little drawing tool.
Which one is the drawing tool?
So it's the one that looks like a pencil on the left-hand side.
Left-hand side.
On Foundry, there should be a drawing tool.
I don't see one of those, though.
Oh, do you guys not get only for the...
I don't see a pencil. I see a ruler. I see journal notes. I see select targets.
Same.
Oh, you guys only have the... it should be underneath the... You guys only have the token controls? Is that the only one you guys see?
I think so. We can make lines.
Yeah, measure controls.
Lines all day.
I have a rectangle template.
Okay, so that must be a Game Master only thing.
I can make rays.
Yeah, so what we'll do is this. I'll clear the templates for the moment. So then you'll do the drawing using your rectangle template will show us where you're going to be putting this will be for those that are just watching or that are tuning in. This is their bastion. This is where this is their home base, and currently they are in reconstruction of what this is going to look like starting after reconstruction. Kelevar is not there. Kelevar got drunk.
Kelevar is praying to the porcelain gods right now. He's very devout.
Very, very devout.
All right, I just put a rectangle down. Do you see it?
No.
Below the bar.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're putting it out.
Yeah.
You're extending the bar.
Yeah. Why would I put it inside?
Okay.
Greenhouse or garden.
Yep. And that one is the.
That's the temple or shrine, I guess.
Okay.
I don't think temple would be appropriate. It'd probably be shrine.
Shrine.
Um,
Similar to the one we would have seen at Stillwell?
sure.
Okay.
We'll put a little polar bear out there for me when I get out of this well.
Okay. And we'll say that you tell me, Aerwyna, how long did you spend down there? Because you were tracing, you were trying to gather as much information.
So I think Aerwyna spent like all night in this well, and then realized that she does not have the upper body strength to get her out of this well. So half of the like 12 hours that she's probably been down here, 6 of it was her becoming a paladin, and then the other 6 was her realizing, shit, I can't get out of the well. And I think she's getting desperate by hour about 5 of being trapped in a well. She has tried to climb. It's not been going well. So she's going to actually use her second use of wild shape to make a familiar. And it's literally going to be a celestial sparkly dog. And she's going to be like, okay, your job is to find someone to throw a rope. Get them and bring them back, okay?
Excellent. We will say for this reason, Atenis and Nier are out gathering wood, gathering some things for the home, and this spectral dog just appears looking at both of you.
I'd like to think that in the moments before the dog appeared, I kind of speak up finally and I go, Atenis, there's no trees out here. Where does all this wood keep coming from? And before Atenis has a chance to really ponder on that, it's probably when the dog shows up.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully there's trees to the north of this place, so it's not too bad, but they're becoming more sparse as, more trees are knocked down. But yeah, this...
Oh, hello, boy. Or girl. Or, okay, non-spectral being. Okay, I look at a tennis. Friend of yours?
I've never seen him. Thing. What is it?
I gotta see if I can, wave my hand through. And I do imagine that it's at least partially corporeal, kind of like my homie can be sometimes.
It's probably less corporeal than your homie.
Sweet. I look sort of at a tennis. It's kind of like, okay, this one's not me. It literally is not me. You've been around for those other ones. Looking back down at the dog. Do you need something?
And like the very Scooby-Doo / cartoon, this thing turns around and just points.
I look to a tennis, and I don't feel like I'm a captive of any kind, but I do know that with my stuff having been held up, I've kind of been at his behest. And frankly, my number one drive is usually to be around people, so I haven't been too flummoxed to run out into the snow, into a strange land, and get away from the one person taking care of me. But I do, in this instance, look to a tennis as kind of like, are we going, or do I go?
Well, I mean, we should probably go together. Make sure, whatever this thing is, if it's leading us into a trap, the 2 of us together might actually be able to take it.
It's a good call. All right.
Or 3 of us when you do that weird thing.
And as we begin running in the direction that the dog goes, I do imagine that I very much I choose you, except I have no choice in what the personality is when it comes out. But another one, as if we were in the same space and then we shift ever so slightly, it appears next to me.
Yeah. This one's very similar in personality, holding that more snarky attitude to it. It seems to be this... Whatever you did in the Arcane Brotherhood, this is the one that seems to come out most of the time.
Oh, yeah. If it's a grab bag, this is the one that has, the most common chances.
This is the number 7 on your grab bag.
Nice.
So,
okay.
But the 3 of you now are running through the woods past where the town is to this very large opening of broken down rubble, to the point where as you get to that edge, a tennis stops and like breaks full break into the snow. We don't.
We keep running for a few seconds.
I wouldn't go in there.
Nier stops first. The echo stops a few seconds later, knowing full well it will explode if it gets too far.
It's learning.
And being that this is the more common one to come around, at the same time we begin to speak again, and then he kind of gives me that snark look, and then defers to Nier and goes, "You got it." I'm like, why don't we want to go? And then the echo speaks up and it's kind of like, why don't we want to go in there?
We've always been told to stay out of the old care. And rumors of seeing old spirits and dangerous things. We've been told many years ago not to go in.
Have any of the spirits ever been, I gotta be honest, kind of like a friendly dog?
Not that I've heard of.
Snappy me goes, right, let's do this. And taking the lead from a version of myself that, wow, that would be nice to be that confident. I turn and stumbling in the snow behind him, we go running in. It's kind of like, if we need help, I guess we'll call.
I hope you're the best. And you can see he's terrified.
And I think that's clear enough. I have pretty decent insight. I'm just leaning into the passive of it. It's kind of like, we respect your choices and we wouldn't want to infringe as I'm running away. I don't.
As you're running away.
And the snarky one goes just like, come on! Knowing that if he gets too far, he'll die and is trying to get me to keep up. But yeah, we head in. Boy, howdy, am I familiar with darkness. I don't imagine I'll be stumbling or anything of that nature. It's the best transition lenses we wish were reality.
Right.
And I'm in there. We're looking. I keep forgetting it's always dark outside. I guess there was no transition. All right.
Yeah, this portion of time, it is always dark, but there's always light too because of whatever the heck is burning in the sky. I'm
assuming I've asked about that. But.
The dragon has left this almost like jet stream that just doesn't go away.
Kind of like
anyway, only red, yellow, and burning fire. Like
for night vision. Yeah.
So it does help with night vision.
The two of us go running on in there. And
okay.
I probably trip a few times, but the echo doesn't.
Yeah. So yeah, the ground is uneven. You can feel areas where the original castle was, and it leads you to this tower. The far eastern, the far western tower, where you would see this celestial dog kind of go, and then in one bound just leap and then disappear.
We both get to the edge and we look down, and Echo's kind of like, yeah, actually that's gonna be a big no for me. And Nier speaks up. He's kind of like, I mean, we've seen plays before where dogs are integral to saving people who fall down holes. We kind of got to lean into this. Echo resists ever so slightly more, saying, no, let's try to go get a little bit more information from a tennis, I'm sure. And then because I can kind of touch him, I just like grab and lean, and we go into the hole together. It's out of a sake of preservation and knowing that I can pop him back, but he might not be the same, that I hold on to him as we fall. And it's not the best for what happens when we get to the bottom, but it means we won't get too far away from each other and he won't. Yeah.
Got it. Aerwyna, you see the celestial dog land next to you. What was that?
Hope.
You're either spiking or something, but I get hello, but that's all I got.
Oh, good. Help must be here.
And as you say help must be here, you see another individual falling towards you. I need you to roll me a dexterity saving throw for me.
Oh, great. I'm going to get killed by a stranger who I think is trying to help me. I don't know. Who just jumps in a hole?
You hear just a lot of loud profanity from one of the two individuals falling, and the other one's just going, Is it Dex for both of us or one of us?
15.
No, it's Dex for her. You're falling. Like, you don't have a choice.
Fair. I'll take it. That's what I said happened.
You're taking. Oh man, I rolled like junk. You're taking 8 points of fall damage.
I'll take it.
But yeah, you quickly slide back as this individual goes. First, you see one individual go poof, and then you see another one go poof poof at the same time as the one below it just disappears.
Yeah. I didn't think about that too well. He does explode on contact. I go, and what you would see, Aery, even though we haven't met yet, I know you're Aery. What you would see is, like, as I kind of unfortunately cough just a little bit of blood and look back up at the top of the hole, realizing that wasn't a terrific plan. I also kind of like, and another one of me appears again. And for the sake of convenience, same personality. Let's just go with it. And without damage, he just slaps me across the face. Yeah. And he, I want to say he mimes the act of like dusting himself off, and then realizes he doesn't have to do that. And as I actually get up and start dusting myself off and checking myself, a less easy to see but still very visible version of this like pale elf walks in your direction, and it's kind of like, well, you just saw a very ill-advised attempt to come help you, I suppose. The dog is with you.
Yes. Jumping into a hole is a brave choice. I love the enthusiasm to come help me. If you want a silly thing that I just realized, instead of making the dog, I could have turned into a spider and climbed out of here. So we're both a little silly in this moment.
I don't know you that well, so I don't have the context for you turning into things. But if you're saying you had the choice, and then you hear Nier from the other side say, "Shut it, we're not here to be mean, man." And then the one.
Let's just say I forgot that I could turn into a spider because I never do it.
It's a long night. It's been a long night. It's been a lot.
Echo looks to you and is just kind of like, okay, well,
yeah.
Is that how you got down here the first time? You turned into an animal?
No, I dramatically leapt into this because there was something cool down that way that I needed to check out. And now I'm stuck in the bottom of a hole because then I realized I don't have the upper body strength to get out of the hole. And then I made a dog go and get me help. And then I realized, oh no, I could have just turned into a spider and climbed out about the time that you fell in.
Nier looks over at... Echo looks over at Nier. He's kind of like, so you made us fall in a hole. After this person who also fell in a hole fell in the hole. And you look at the two of us, and we have like wiry builds. We're not strong, but we're also not like the most strong. But Echo's kind of staring at Nier, just kind of like, this was a terrible idea. You didn't think about it for even a single second. You saw a dog jump in a hole, and you just thought to yourself, this dog needs assistance, and you jumped in. And you can tell, I'm just gonna go ahead and give that to you, like half of that is said, half of that is heavily implied by like just the stature of Echo staring back at Nier. And Nier just kind of vocalizes, okay, humanoid ladder, I guess. And Echo's just kind of like, that we won't reach half the height. We didn't have a plan. And as James made abundantly clear, I came down here not with gear yet again. So now there's 3 of us in this hole.
Well, we're all gonna have to be friends until I can have a long rest and turn into a spider and go get help.
I will say,
what's your name? Well, we're trapped in a hole.
I'm Nier. And then Echo goes, and I'm Far. And Nier goes, no, we're not doing bits. We're not doing bits. We talked about this. You can't even go that far. And Echo's just kind of like, hey, I'm my own person where I come from. I can tell. But when I'm hanging out with you, we're not the same. I gotta go by something. It's kind of like, something in my mind thinks you'd probably go by Echo pretty well. I like Far. No, we're not doing bits. And we both look at you at the same time, just kind of like, I'm sorry, we didn't mean to exclude you from the conversation. Here, I actually can do one thing real quick. And Nier walks over to the edge, and he looks back up to the rim of the hole, and he goes, I'll be right back. And Echo's like, wait. And he pops out of existence again, as Nier pops up to the top of the hole. And I don't know if you've met many Shadow Elves, but we kind of walked into a dark corner near the edge, and we were just all of a sudden not in the hole with you anymore. And I'm calmly walking back out, and I once again just kind of and bring Echo back about, walking next to me, and we're gonna go say to a tennis yeah, there's someone down in a hole. We absolutely need to come back with rope. Their name is Aerwyna, if you're familiar.
Oh, yes, very much. Good friend, actually. Known her for many years. Used to be one of the waitresses at the tavern. Then she ran off and did some adventuring stuff, and I forgot they were back in town.
Yes,
Where'd
that
you
sounds
find her?
very nice. Nier also has a bloody nose. And sure enough, you look over, and I haven't cleaned myself up all that well. It's kind of like... and that... It'll be really great to get to know her, and hear more about her, I'm sure. But we probably need to go get a rope right now. It's like, come on, man. We were getting some good background. But it does sound like this person needs assistance.
All right. And he'll kind of scurry off back towards the frozen far, grab some rope, head back. And through all that time, it's going to take a while.
Aerwyna has already decided that she's just going to take a long rest at the bottom of this hole. Either her help's coming back,
or she's climbing out. One of the two.
Climbing out as a spider.
While that's happened, another hour has gone by. Candle and Scruff are restless. You've made breakfast. The kobolds are full. They're back to their normal. Cookie is in the back, kind of drawing out roughly what your envision is.
Oh, I'd like to work with Cookie on that.
Okay.
And just to provide some pointers and such the like, saying okay, here's where I'm thinking this is going to require knocking out the walls and build them up a bit, but
Cookie cannot do that, but Cookie will find.
I'm sure we can find some stout fellows around town who'll help with that. And I recommend the dwarves that helped fix the hole in the wall last time. And yeah, that's what we're doing. But
Cookie
one thing
can help.
The altar for the temple needs to be I'd love to get a tree stump for that. That might be tricky in Icewind Dale. Well, sure, I know where I can get a tree stump. I think I can.
I think I can.
Well, yeah.
I think I can.
I mean, go into up. Where is it?
Heading up past the Frozen Far expedition is where all the forest is, where you have seen and where you found the Dorgar outpost and all that fun stuff in episodes 2 through 6.
I can get a tree stump from Stillwell.
Oh, travel all the way back there.
Yeah, I can order one from Stillwell.
I can order one to come in.
All right. Ask Aerwyna if she can grow a tree so I can chop it down and
grow a tree. That'll be an interesting conversation towards the end.
Shouting down to
Sure, she'll be fine with it. Druids, trees, whatever.
So while Aerwyna and Nier are trying to get out, while Aerwyna is trying to get out of a hole and Nier is trying to find rope, you're working with Cookie to kind of build the idea of where the temple's going to be, and the 3 items you guys picked were the temple, the
Garden, library.
The temple, library, and what was the last one?
Garden. or I believe Herb Garden, right?
Yeah, it's a farm to table experience that we're trying to get started in Icewind Dale. It's going to be really difficult. We're going to have to go a lot with tubers. Aerwyna is vividly dreaming as she is trying to take a nap in the hole about what plants she can get to grow in this awful weather.
Well, way I see it, the best place to put the herb garden is either next to where the kegs are stored or near the kitchen.
Yeah, right
So
near
that's
the
where
kitchen.
that's why I placed it in the top left.
Maybe
The-
Aerwyna's dreaming the same thing as she's like laying on a bunch of
It's like
rocks.
they've synced themselves even throughout the ground.
Yeah,
the temple is on the south end, and next to that is the library.
that's exactly where she's dreaming about it right now.
So
But I'm thinking we knock out that entire wall
mhm.
in the south and just make it an open area where you can see where the temple is, and then next to it is the library.
Okay.
And because it's a temple of Shantea, so it ain't fancy. It ain't gotta be like even the term temple. I'm thinking, I don't know,
We're-
shrine or something.
Yeah, we're gonna put in a little cute little polar bear statue at some point because we all have different faiths in our group.
And you worship a polar bear.
I
mean, he's my
recognize
best
all the
friend.
gods, but I know which one is most important. I walk over to me, and but I
Polaris
recognize.
is gonna remember that next time I
I'll walk
summon
over.
him.
I'll walk over. I'll leave that to Cookie, and I'll walk over to the front door and I look outside and I check the time by looking at the sky.
Uh-huh.
How much time?
It's fire o'clock.
It's fire o'clock. Yeah, it's fire o'clock.
Time sure does pass.
Yeah. Time
I
doesn't
saw
work
it.
well here. It's never good. Time is the one thing in this area that just doesn't help anybody.
We
Can I
sleep
guess
when
the
we're tired.
guesstimate? Can I guestimate the time? Or how-
I mean, you guesstimate it's mid morning, maybe afternoon. It's not dark. I mean, that's about where you're at with it at the moment.
Well, I'm starting to get worried. Usually, she could at least leave a note. Her and her strange metamorphoses, I swear. All right.
And we'll say while you're kind of starting to get worried, a tennis comes back with rope. After some very long talks of how he does not want to go into the care, he knows who is in the care, so he is going to journey in terrified with you. As you hear a familiar voice come down from the hole. Aerwyna, is that you?
Oh, yeah, that's me. And she's like half asleep on the.
What are you doing down there?
Right now I'm napping. It's a long story. I fell in a hole. Do you have any enemies in this hole you'd like me to throw their dreams and wishes out of? Because I'm really fighting a primal urge to do so, and
No.
I can't do that for me, but maybe for you.
Yeah, I mean, I had an ex-girlfriend one day that she's probably got something down there, but
Oh, yeah. What would she wish for?
I don't know.
She just like has organized all the rocks.
all the rocks and type of wishes.
This is a really
Yeah.
interesting conversation to be having, considering the situation.
Yeah, I mean, he's already dropped the rope.
She's been up for over 24 hours.
Yeah, she's
at
starting to
this point.
hallucinate at this point, even as an elf who doesn't get more than 4 hours of meditation.
Oh no, she's a half elf, so she does still have to sleep.
Oh
8
goodness, yeah,
hours.
she's hurting.
Her soul is dead.
So as you guys head over to, as you drop, a tennis drops the rope down, pittons it on the top to make sure that it stays there. Says, that should help. Can you get a hold? Are you well enough to climb up?
I will try. I am so strong. I have the power of all of my ancestors fueling my muscles.
Yeah, it seems like she really needs to go to sleep. She's been saying that for like the last 40 minutes, and I asked her about the trees too.
Oh no.
She didn't have an answer.
Oh.
This is gonna
Well,
go
we've got a hold of
slowly,
this.
guys.
So let's see how it works. You're gonna roll an athletics with advantage
we're-
because of rope.
Except I've been up for over 24 hours, so I have disadvantage.
Yeah, so straight.
But we're gonna throw a D4 on it, a little
at
bit
least
of
you got
guidance
at least
from
some
the
little star
stars.
stank.
Little star stank. Oh yeah, baby!
Apparently
Look
they
at
want
these
you out of.
muscles.
Apparently they want you out of the hole.
What? It's just like pure delusion that is driving her to climb, using muscles that are gonna hurt so
bad.
much later. She's tired, but it's like when you're like both like that mom rage of like I gotta get out of the hole, but it's like because she's like I gotta get out of the hole because I gotta save all of Icewind Dale, and if I can't get out of this hole, I can't do it. And then a part of it is also like, yeah, I can climb mountains. This is great.
And as you kind of get up to the edge and pull yourself up, as you're doing that final pull and you release for the moment, everything immediately hurts. It's just like,
Yeah,
ugh.
Aerwyna is just gonna lay on the floor. Just a very graceful, beautiful introduction to Aerwyna as a person. Just like on the ground, half dead.
Well, thankfully we brought we brought the sled, so let's just push her on it and get the hell out of here.
I also don't have lactic acid like this guy does, so if I got this. And you see Echo like bodily picks her up and starts walking in the direction of the sled.
Yeah.
He's always going on about how he doesn't have lactic acid. It's kind of weird, honestly.
Aerwyna,
You're
dead
unique.
asleep. Dead asleep.
It doesn't hear anything. Aerwyna
Doesn't
hears
hear
nothing.
anything. It's just pure exhaustion has claimed her.
And Atenis pulls the rope back up, pittons it, places the rope back over the sled, and says, "All right, you non-lactic acid thing, mush."
And he absolutely is just staring some more, and then and starts running because once again he even recognizes that don't build lactic acid, and it's not fast, but we're all heading back now in the direction of town.
And after like 10 minutes, Atenis goes, "This ain't fast enough," and he grabs another rope and he starts running with him.
Okay, I guess I'm not worried about lactic acid either. I'm an elf, and I pitch in. Yeah.
All right. So as the three of you push the sled back towards the hook, line, and sinker, I will say you and Atenis carry a completely passed out version of Aerwyna into the hook, line, and sinker. You hear that the voice of Atenis. He goes, "I could use some help here.
I'm so strong.
Somebody around."
I have so many muscles.
Do I hear this?
I'm sure you would if you're on the first floor.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh, then no.
No, I'm not planning on going anywhere else. Upstairs is the sleeping room, so I'll be on the first floor.
Okay.
I'll be parting between the kitchen and the front door to look
Okay.
outside and periodically and go, "Aerwyna!" and then go back again.
So you have Tennis, who is one of the dwarven loggers that has been around for a while, that you've met multiple times because you've bought things from him, and this strange fellow that is duplicated walk in.
Hi, we're Nier, and we're very excited to meet you in your establishment.
I'm so strong.
That's a lot.
Oh
of
no, Aerwyna! Are you hurt?
I'm not hurt. I'm sleepy.
We found
Come
her
with
in a
me,
hole.
please.
Yeah, we jumped in a hole and we got her out again. It was a whole thing.
Oh,
Cookie got it.
oh,
She like
I
snaps her
climbed out of
fingers
the hole.
and points to like a half a dozen kobolds and goes, "Get her!" And like Sultan's carry 6 of them go underneath her and pick her up and start shoveling her where she needs to go.
Is
all right,
is
fine,
this normal?
Cookie. I mean, I was just going to say to take her to her room, but if you're...
Fantastic.
very
Aerwyna's so
mildly
sad
normal.
that she's delusional, so she'll think this was a fever dream.
As Cookie points where Aerwyna needs to go, kobolds aren't the most graceful creatures. So every once in a while, as they're trying to, 6 of them carry this individual upstairs, randomly you'll hear it, ow, ow. But she'll get there sooner or
Watch
later.
that corn. Oh, okay. We'll watch that corn.
Okay, I didn't need that brain cell. It's fine. I'm not using it.
I'm Ginjack Wonderful, and I guess I'm the cook in this place, and co-owner. I'm a priest of the goddess Shantea. And who might you be, sir?
I'm Nier, and I'm Far. Again, we're not doing that. This is also Nier. It's a whole conversation. We have been staying with a tennis for about a week. We're glad to finally make your acquaintance.
Ah, are you twins?
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's
A tennis goes, oh, you want to see a funny trick? And he grabs just a cup and just goes whack to the echo, and the echo goes poof.
They go. And I just kind of, I look at a tennis and I look back at you and ta-da.
Ah. Have I heard of Echo Knights before?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You might even think this is like a broken unseen servant or something. Yeah.
Unseen servants. Well, that would require I know what an unseen servant is.
give me a history check with disadvantage, because I don't think well, I don't know.
That's your call. I know one thing. If I know that Ginjack has met Echo Knights before.
Got it.
Whether this Ginjack has met Echo Knights before.
Got it.
Anyway,
So a disadvantage?
We'll go with normal, since Ginjack has met them before.
And this is history? Alright, this is just a normal roll then.
Yeah.
16.
You've remembered in your past, one of your stories actually has resemblance to this.
Oh! You're like Twin John, the knight who defended the keep on Velen Bay.
That entire story?
Oh yeah, it's in my book. Twin John. He could make a copy of himself, and the copy ended up confusing people because no one knew who was who. Twin John's copy took on a mind of its own.
Oh.
So they both just, rather than giving it a name, they just said, it's Twin John. And we always referred to them as the plural back in the stories. Are you like that? I know I'm jumping to conclusions here. By the way, have you eaten?
I'm always hungry. That's the question.
Well, you're in the right place then. Why don't you come over here? I made a complete dog's dinner of the breakfast, but let's see if I do better with the lunch. Sit yourself down.
And on my way over,
what is it, Neil? Nier?
Nier. And I pop out the echo again. And he cantankerously follows over, kind of mouthing off at a tennis. But I sit down and kind of like, don't mind him so much. It's nice to have him around, but let's talk food. What do you got?
Oh, I've got trout.
End of list. Okay, hey, there's a lot to be said for a simple menu. I'll take some trout.
Well, I have other stuff too, but it's mostly salted. The trout's the only thing that's fresh. Oh, I also have these Johnny Journey cakes and dumplings and dry stuff and whatnot but that was mainly for Aerwyna because I wasn't sure when she was coming back, and I reckon she was going to be hungry. But how about I just
all the help she can get when she wakes up? I'll have the trout. You had me at the first thing.
All right. While I make the trout, you can explain to me where you found her.
Oh,
So I'll do that.
I've cut you off. Sorry.
Oh yeah, there's the normal Ginjack rolls.
There we go.
There we go.
So it's flawless trout, basically.
Yeah.
Well
There's
cooked.
no such thing as flawless trout, Aerwyna yells in her sleep.
Near flawless trout.
Wait, you
That-
mean like near flawless trout?
Oh
That's not what he's
no.
talking
Oh,
about.
oh
And
no.
Echo slaps me upside the head again.
Ah, a pickle and a pun. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have some fun.
Hey, do you want to see a funny trick? He says to a tennis, and then he picks up part of the fish that comes to the table and tosses it at a tennis's head. But you don't disappear, do ya? And then he looks at you and he says, "Sir, I'm very sorry for wasting your food." Yeah, I'm not against eating that still.
Good, because
Oh,
you should. I hate
I
seeing
don't.
food wasted.
As the trout just kind of slops down his face and he looks straight at the Echo. But I know you do.
Yeah.
And he holds his mug up. He holds his mug up at him again.
At some point in the last week, the Echo for sure attempted to run through a wall and found that that is absolutely not how this works. But you see him kind of look again, and then look back at the tennis and just kind of like. I know I don't have the agency here. And like sits down and just stares at the food, knowing that he can't eat. It's like, don't worry, I'll tell you about it. Like, it's not the same. Well, Mr. Wonderful, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself? What's going on here? I heard you guys were adventurers, or is that just the one upstairs?
Oh, we were adventurers. Well, we are adventurers, but Aerwyna's the native to this place. She's much more familiar with this town, having grown up here all her life. Where to begin?
I will say this.
I would leave the,
I'd
I'd leave it to our bard, but he appears to be out of sorts after drinking far too heavily. So I will do my best to regale you of the tale. Well, I come to Icewind Dale in search of helping people, and then I met with Aerwyna and two murder mothers, and barbarian and a knight. We came across, well, how shall I put it? There's a stain upon Icewind Dale. The ancient goddess who was a patron of this land has been defiled by some unknown, I don't know, malefactor. Barry has a better understanding of it than me. I was ready to just assume that she'd gone mad, as gods often do, but it's more of a defilement. So we've been trying to find how to cleanse this, how to restore balance to nature. As you can see, the weather here is completely unnatural. Would you like a spot of ale with that? And I reach for a jug of ale.
That would be great. It's good. It just needs a little something wet.
Yeah, the bread's a bit dry. I didn't make fresh bread just yet, but the dumplings are fresh. Where was I? Right. Defiled.
Yeah, it's always.
So we've been basically traveling around the Dale trying to find assistance. We found one place, an old temple of Shantea, and a town down south where the winter hadn't touched it. Because it's supposed to be spring in the entire Icewind Dale right now, but as you can see, everything but that place has been clutched in winter's grasp. Part of the unnaturalness. And then there's the Duergars, these wee little bastard dwarves who have been popping up all over the place, wielding vile corruption. And the strongest manifestation of which is currently stomping its way to the middle of Icewind Dale and smashing the crap out of every village that it comes across. Large mechanical dragon. Actually, it's not stomping, it's flapping, it's flying. Anyhow, I won't go into the details, but I do go into the details, and I tell the story of the Goliaths and how we encountered the Duergar and how we've been fighting the Duergar for months since we've been here. And they've been popping out of the ground like really bad potatoes, and forced to sort of smack them down. And then they finally smashed their way out of the bottom of a mountain with a Goliath clan and unleashed this big mechanical dragon. And we just got back from the Goliath place yesterday. I guess.
It's only been a day. Yeah, like goodness
And it's only
gracious.
been a day, and I'm used to Aerwyna's little changes and turns and whatnot, and so that's. But even so, she usually lets us know when she's run off somewhere. So that's why I was really worried and concerned for her. But more in terms of, well, yeah, I was just worried. But so I'm very grateful to you for the both of you for bringing her back. Not that I doubt that she can't take care of herself. It's just you never know. Whenever she goes through, she is a magical creature, you understand, right? You haven't figured it out yet.
She did reference turning into an animal. That's a first for me.
Oh, that's a druid thing. But even beyond that, she is a sort of a. I've gotten used to it because I was traveling with three magical creatures at one point, but the other two are staying with the Goliaths, and she's the only one left that I'm traveling with.
Well, I guess
I suspect that.
And Echo kind of looks and goes, "Yeah, we really don't understand our current situation, but it's probably magic, sure. Anyway, please continue."
When
you're
as
right.
you start to continue, you get that humming noise in your ears again.
Just me?
Just you.
Great.
Well, you're someone born with a twin blessing, which means I reckon you're a magic creature too, yeah?
This has only been going on for about a week, and I don't understand it. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of information about why I'm here, because I have, from what I can tell, really similar memories to this guy, but they are, of course, the exact same memories with just a few subtle changes.
How did you get here? I'd assumed that you were actually from Icewind Dale. I didn't realize you're from outside.
And we regale you for about a second or two, compared to what you did about how we are basically just like street rats who have never left the city, and that city is not here. It's we
What city?
all the way down along the coast in the city of Neverwinter. Never been north of that, but
Ah,
what Atena here says, we are very, very far north of Neverwinter.
oh, you are. I'm
I
from
don't
I'm
have
from the
any idea.
Titherian Peninsula, which is near the city-state of Velen, which is south of Icewind Dale. And
Only seen it on the map, but yeah.
yeah, you're very far north, my friend. And are you telling how you was it how you teleported or just?
Well, I wish I could give you some of the details. Was doing just an easy job with a couple of my friends. I reached for something I probably shouldn't have reached for, and I'm deliberately not sharing some details here.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's for you, Chris. But it's like, yeah, we were doing a job. We were hired by a patron to do something. I touched something I probably shouldn't have, and the next thing I know, I was here, and well, I met him. Pointing at Echo. Yep. Near as I can tell, that's the start of this arrangement.
Oh, that's interesting. So you received your twin blessing as you arrived in Icewind Dale.
Yeah, just a whole lot going on all at once. And quite frankly, it sounds like you guys have gotten up to way more than we ever have. I think the
Oh,
most
no,
complex
no,
thing
no.
we ever did was, move a horse in a city that's not allowed to have unregistered horses from one side of the city to the other. That was about as complex as the job that we had done.
Yeah, but
We're not that interesting. Everything you just described is absolutely cool, though.
And
I
as you
have a
say
lot of
that,
questions.
that humming gets louder.
the thing is, I have faith, mainly because, I'm kind of on a holy quest. You know, my goddess told me.
Ooh, even better. Ginjack, roll me a religion check with advantage, please.
Sure.
And
I'm
you
always.
start to feel the key start to vibrate in your pocket, near.
Me. Yeah.
That's a 22.
So the markings on his face are markings that very similar to castles of the Raven Queen.
Um, well, I can't help but notice that the markings on your face are very simple, similar to my friend Castle's. And she's a knight of the Raven Queen.
Oh yeah. from what I gather, we get around. Not me. It's like, yeah. Where is this person? We'd actually like to touch base because the last we'd heard, last thing we know, we weren't really certain what was going on with the rest of our friends who are also associated with the Raven Queen. Where's this castle person?
Oh, she's off in the mountains with the Goliaths. I
Best.
mentioned that before. She's one of the two murder mommies. She and
Okay.
Benji. They're off there. Also a magical creature. So you're a paladin of the Raven Queen, or?
We audit. We definitely appreciate the things that she's done for our people.
Ah, all right. Uh, I'm thinking to myself, be polite. The Raven Queen does things for her people. Okay.
I think he's kind of downplaying it just to be conversational. The Raven Queen really has done a lot of wonderful things for our people. We're unfortunately not the most popular everywhere we go, and she looks out for us very nicely. Yeah, we're devouts. And he goes, devouts to an extent.
I do know that the Raven Queen's favors do not come without a price. That's what I've heard, anyway.
Nothing we've had to pay too dearly yet. For all we know, what's going on with us currently, and it kind of like gestures at his whole everything. This could be a boon, unbidden.
As I was mentioning before, I'm on a holy quest and I have faith, which means I don't believe anything is coincidence for the most part. And if you're here, it's for a purpose. And the fact that you've been transported here magically and the circumstances of your twinning, I reckon the both of you are here for a reason. That
I can't pretend to know I know a whole lot besides the
Nier,
name
roll me
about
roll me
Shantae.
a wisdom save, please, Nier.
Sweet. The echo is saying something along the lines that I just did, like, "Oh, we don't know much about Shantae." And that's when you see Nier like kind of twitching ever so slightly as he. Oh, good, no modifier. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take an 18.
Yeah, you succeed, but you can start to see that there is something getting to Nier. Not only just Nier, but also the echo is giving off the same.
I'm the insight on the echo.
Go for it.
26.
Natural 20. You can definitely tell that there is something odd happening.
Well, I knew that from the beginning. Maybe I'm odd.
I will say
Somewhat.
though that not just insight on the idea that they're hiding something. There is something magically affecting both of them at the exact same time right now.
I wonder if you're cursed.
The thought had crossed my mind. I don't always get along with this one. You got another slap along.
Yeah, in my experience, the stories always describe it as a twin blessing. It's a good thing. You and your brother.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm a gift.
Or it's supposed
Well,
to be a good thing.
And you seem to be a subject matter on the about this, at least relative to our own expertise on the situation. What are you willing to tell us about the Holy Quest? Maybe we are here by some divine intervention.
Oh, the Holy Quest is pretty straightforward. Free Icewind Dale from the clutches of winter, and restore spring to the entire place, and save the good folk from whatever evil has descended upon this fair land. I'm a peasant. I don't make things complicated. It's very simple for me.
We're not that different.
I know that Aerwyna probably, and she'll probably correct me when she comes back, but I believe her interest is to restore natural balance to Icewind Dale, which is pretty much what I just said, only I'm not a magical creature. So, that's...
Well, I genuinely find that to be quite noble, and if I'm being entirely forthright with you, it's of my interest to find out what happened to my associates. That they aren't just working colleagues; they are genuine friends back down in Everwinter. But as I've been told over the last week or
Ben,
so, traveling is very unsafe outside of the city, at least under the current conditions. So, at
oh, you
least
can't
at the
leave.
moment, yeah, can't leave. I don't know if that was stressed. Oh, okay. And the Echo kind of looks back over at Atenis, and I'm sure Atenis has said something along those lines, but maybe Echo just wasn't listening.
I mean, Tennis really doesn't know. This would have been outside information coming in. Like, we know that there's the Neverwinter, like there's the Everwinter here. However, even getting to the pass is too difficult for most people in 10 towns, so they're not going to even try. So
Yeah, the weather here, I mean, it's supposed to be springtime, and as you can discern, it's not even like, oh, it's a mild winter. No, this is a vicious bastard fangs, bear, screaming, cold, freeze your giblets off winter. And the passes, no one's even tried to go through them. No one's gone to any of the ports. It's all iced, or at least they're iced over as far as I can tell. And I'm pretty sure from the conversation I had with those Bryn Shander fellas, even airships, I don't think that, actually, I might be wrong about the airships.
well, the last airship you saw was taken out by a dragon, so there was that too.
Yeah, also, there's a white dragon taking care of airships, and by taking care of, I mean it in the mafia sense. And so
Not
So,
gonna lie, that sounds pretty rad. That sounds really scary, if I'm being honest.
yeah, not to be, too opportunistic, but your best chance of leaving is to stick with us so that we can clear this whole mess up. That's just my opinion, though, but I will confess that we're somewhat short-handed, and we could use, in my opinion anyway, and we could use all the help we can get.
Echo looks over and says, Nier, hands up. And you see 2 sets, 4 full hands, kind of raised into the air at the moment. He goes, I don't know if you saw a few moments ago, but Atenis kind of pointed out how fragile I might be, but I do have my uses, and this one over here does as well, like mouthful of trout. Nier goes, yeah. And Echo speaks up, just kind of like he said, the primary interest that we have at the moment is obviously getting back to our people, but if it's truly the case that we can't get out of here until this land is brought back to its natural order, I would have to agree. It seems our interests may very well be in line.
You start to see where your key is rattle, and you can see that too, Ginjack, on his side.
It's probably shaking against like the chair or the bench I'm sitting on. And Nier.
What's that?
I'm not gonna lie, this is not what keys normally do, and I haven't seen this key do that yet. And Nier does put the fork down, probably done with the trout at this point anyway, and removes the key and just places it on the table. Thousands of miles away from the people they were taken from. I'm not concerned about anybody here recognizing it or finding out what I was up to when I acquired it. So yeah, it's just on the table all of a sudden.
So as it's placed on the table, you see 2 things. One, the key springs forward as if a blade has now been created from it. And you see 2 very strange markings on it that you probably the only one here that knows about. As you can see 3 symbols representing the Arcane Brotherhood on the key itself. And that's where we'll pick up next week.
Oh,
Oh boy.
I make sure I get some trout I leave some trout for Aerwyna as well.
Aerwyna and Kelevar.
Yeah, I go.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming to another fun episode of Dress to Quest. We knew tonight was not going to be full of combat. We wanted to kind of tie into our new player. We wanted to reveal the new experience coming from Aerwyna's path. And sadly, Kelevar wasn't here to join us due to some technical issues with internet services. So real quick, we're going to go around the circle. We're going to end with Chris, of course, so he can show off whatever artwork he's been working on over there, because I'm sure he's got something. He always has something. So excited to see what it is. I don't know. We're going to start with Alix again. So, who you are, where they can find you, and if you got anything cool going on.
Hi, I'm Alex. You can find me on most socials at Wild Hearts. It's funky spelled. That's just how we roll. So good luck. Um, right now, it looks like June 1st, we'll meet on 2B Diced. We'll be doing a Eberron game that'll be streaming on Sundays, the same weeks as Icewind Dale, so it should be really easy for you to know when those are. I'll be playing a Knoll barbarian named Sheila Dunewalker, and if you show up and I still have the stomach for it, I might try the world's worst Australian accent.
Hey.
It's not good. And that's what's going on.
Awesome. Sam.
Hey everybody, my name's Sam. On most socials, you can find me at Dungeon Samster. I have another project that I'm working on with James here. We're hoping that we'll be able to announce it a lot more soon. Other than that, I just post silly things online, and I'm very happy to be here, even if it's only in the short term. Very glad to be hanging out with everyone.
Thank you. And we got Chris.
I'm Chris. I don't exist on the internet except here, but here I made a quick little drawing of Nier.
Slide it over.
Cracking open the door.
Slide it over. There we go. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
Well, these were temple designs on the other side here
Oh.
that I was working on.
That's cool.
I like it.
Is that a crow above or a raven above him?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's rad as hell.
And
that's
then
awesome.
I did a drawing of Nier arriving in Icewind Dale.
Sounds about right.
That's the
And
vibe.
then I did another drawing of Nier arriving in Icewind Dale that I thought was better. Because that includes Echo as well.
Just sitting on the mound being like, I hate life right now.
That captures the vibe pretty perfectly.
Yeah, that's
Thank
awesome.
So I think that's it. Well, yeah, and the build drawings of temple.
Ooh.
Temple diagrams.
We'll work on those as we continue.
But
One
that's
thing
what I
we're
got.
trying to do, that's awesome. I'm going to jump real quick into this. One thing we're trying to do with Icewind Dale is we're trying to allow the audience to do some sort of help with us. So one of the things we'd love to do in the near future is to put something together where if any money is funded to it, that you can actually be a part of the Icewind Dale story, as Chris has been drawing to be able to get a piece of that. You would be able to get a flip book with that. We're working on the idea. It'd be great. He's done 51 fully drawn out images, not to mention all of the other sketches. So I think what we might do, if Chris is up for it, is doing a weekly amount that we set for us, and if we raise that amount, then Chris does another image for us, and when we get so many images, we'll do a book. And I think it'd be a lot of fun to tell the story with the Northern attitudes moving forward, and it helps Chris. So you can find us every week here at Tabletop Misfits, every other week on Monday nights for Dress to Quest, every Wednesday and Thursday nights for Tavern Talks and Beaker Builds. And coming soon, as Sam said, we're working on another project, and if you're not a part of the Discord, make sure that you are a part of there, because that's where we're dropping any casting calls early. That's where we're dropping any new projects that we're working on. So if you want to be a part of the Misfits, come hang out with us. We'd love to have you. And of course, stick around as we raid. Real quick, I want to just give a quick shout out before we do that, to our sponsors for the year. And drop that in the channel. All of our music comes from the wonderful people over there at Monument Studios. Our code is dropping this week, so you'll be able to actually use it to get a little bit of a percentage off. Canadian Dice is our official sponsor for Dice. Use Misfit 15 in order to get your next set of Click-Clacks. And if you're looking for apparel, currently all there is right now is Tabletop Misfits and Beaker Build apparel, but soon we're hoping to get Dress to Quest apparel as well, and that'll all be done over at dungeongrandmaster.com. So Thank you all for coming. Let's go raid some friends. Keep warm. Icewind Dale is cold, and we'll see you guys all for the next episode of Dressed Quest.
Night all.